From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Wednesday, April 26th. It's going to be the best weather day of the week, according to our Storm Track 8 weather team. Lots of sunshine, mostly clear with light winds and dry air. It's going to be into the low 60s, so not incredibly warm, but really comfortable conditions. This morning, people in Richmond are armed with new information as they clean up from this month's massive industrial fire there. Local and federal government officials hosted a Helpline Live event last night to answer questions and offer some cleaning advice. News 8's Hannah Mordeau reports on how neighbors are feeling now.
Well, people who live closest to the site of that massive fire and the former recycling plant are left feeling a little bit worried that lasting effects from the chemicals will still be around. Many neighbors who had evacuated say that their homes are now filled with soot. So a lot of people went to a community event last night put on by the EPA, the Wayne County Emergency Management, and other state and local government officials. It was called the Helpline Live. It was a one-on-one, face-to-face opportunity to get some answers to questions and concerns. As people walked into the event, they were given these cleanup kits with dish soap and to wash their houses. They were also given instructions on how to clean their homes, told to only pick up remaining debris with gloves on and to double bag it before throwing it away. The EPA also says it's now safe to resume outdoor activities like mowing your lawn where debris has been removed. The agency tested for 2 days and says it did not find any asbestos, but some people who went to the event still left feeling uneasy.
What the chemicals are, what they're going to do to us in the long haul. And it just seemed like when we came here, we thought it would be more organized, but it didn't seem like it was that organized.
Yeah, I worried about a lot. I worried about chemicals and asbestos and stuff getting into my house, around my house where you can't see. Later on, something can happen later.
It makes me kind of nervous, because what if I don't do a good job cleaning it up? Because there was, I think, thousands of chemicals in that building. So just to know that they, could be exposed to more, I can't get it all cleaned up, is kind of concerning.
Other people we spoke with were just angry that the fire happened in the first place and that nothing was done when the former recycling plant was cited for unsafe practices. Now, last night's event was an in-person version of the community help hotline people can still call. That number is 765-973-9300. It's up on your screen right now. It's no longer open 24 hours a day. I tried it earlier this morning. You can leave a message and call during business hours. The Wayne County Health Department says this is an easy way for people to still get questions and answers and referrals as well.
Again, that was Hannah Mordeau reporting. Police say a shooting at a smoke shop on the city's south side left one man dead. According to IMPD, it happened just before 6:30 last night at 20 past 4 and more on Madison Avenue. They say the man was found shot at the entrance of the shop. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say they're talking with a person of interest. A motive for the shooting hasn't been released. A former worker at a daycare in Fishers faces 19 charges accused of battering children, and police believe there may be more victims. This all came out after a parent reported to the Fishers Police Department that their child had a bruise the size of a handprint after they came home from the daycare, the Kitty Academy. Documents show 19 counts of battery. Police arrested 23-year-old Molly Taxter yesterday and took her to the Hamilton County Jail. The parent who first came forward met with police, and they looked at the surveillance video in the daycare. Fishers PD says the video shows a child care employee inappropriately touching the child. The Kitty Academy then fired Taxter. The Kitty Academy released this statement saying, "Our team is dedicated to sound leadership decisions, swiftly addressing concerns, aligning with local licensing bodies, and assuring that the trust of each family is earned and maintained. We will continue to fully cooperate with local authorities during any further investigation of this matter." Since then, detectives have identified multiple victims but believe there could be more children involved. Parents, if your child attended the Kitty Academy daycare from January of 2023 through March 16th, and you have any reason to believe your child suffered an injury at the daycare, you should contact Fishers Police. There is a hotline set up for parents. That number is 317-595-3317. The Kitty Academy says representatives from CPS are also investigating. IMPD hopes this week's Latino Town Hall meeting will help the department gain the trust of more of the people it serves. One headline from the event, comments from the police chief aimed at easing fears that police will try to deport people. Randall Taylor says his department does not have an official relationship with Immigration and Customs Enforcement and does not report to the agency. The chief says he's concerned people fail to report crime because they're afraid to call 911. An IMPD sergeant says an event like the town hall is a good way to address such concerns.
Different immigrants have different fears or misconception of law enforcement depending on what country they might be from. So this opportunity is great to get to have conversations with the community.
The department is looking for more officers and hopes to hire more Hispanic candidates. Currently, less than 5% of the force is Hispanic. The deadline to apply for the next recruit class is Friday. Today, U.S. House Representatives could vote on the GOP-backed debt ceiling package. As we've reported, the plan would lift the debt ceiling by $1.5 trillion in exchange for steep budget cuts. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is vowing to pass the proposal despite a slim Republican majority. Democrats say it will not happen. An analysis by the Congressional Budget Office shows the plan would reduce federal deficits by $4.8 trillion over the decade if it's passed. A measure that would require Indiana high school students to take a personal finance course is heading to Governor Holcomb's desk. The state Senate passed it unanimously yesterday. According to credit rating agency Experian, the total average debt load for both Gen Z and millennials rose by double-digit percentages between 2021 and 2022. Lawmakers say the bill would help address that problem. If passed, the bill would take effect beginning with the class of 2028. The course would include topics like opening and managing a bank account, managing debt, and applying for loans. Our IT Mate is digging into the racial disparity among school nurses. According to the National Association of School Nurses, only 4.8% of U.S. school nurses are black. And it's harder to get a clear local number. IT Mate asked all local districts in Indianapolis for figures. Only 2 were able to confirm theirs. Fewer than 2% of the nurses in those systems are minorities.
Look around at a conference or a meeting, I don't see a whole lot of faces of color. School nurses level the playing field for students that are of low economic status or students of color, because we provide services without needing an appointment, transportation, insurance, any of those things.
ITMate also looked into the overall need for nurses. A 2018 state survey shows a ratio of 1 nurse for every 917 students. A survivor of the murders of 4 college students in Idaho does not want to testify in a hearing for the suspect. Bethany Funk has filed a motion against a subpoena. Attorneys for Brian Kohberger want her to appear, saying she has information that could vindicate Kohberger. Kohberger is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. Investigators say Funk was in the home when Kohberger stabbed 3 of her roommates and a friend to death. Funk is back in Nevada, her home state. Kohberger's attorneys want her to return to Idaho for testimony. People across the Midwest are bracing for flooding. Near-record snowfall this year is causing the Mississippi River to swell over its banks. People in Wisconsin are filling sandbags and building barricades to protect waterfront property. Flood warnings extend for more than 400 miles along the Mississippi. Warnings are also in place for rivers in the upper Midwest, from the Canadian border to north of St. Louis. And today, the first of 2 free cancer screenings in the Martindale-Brightwood neighborhood begins. Both are happening at Martin University. The Cancer Support Community Indiana is hosting them. Organizers say you do need to make an appointment for today's event, which is for breast cancer screening and resources. Walk-ins will be welcome at Saturday's event, which will offer other screenings, testing, and vaccinations. Kansas City is gearing up to play host to tomorrow's NFL Draft. Next year, the draft will head to Detroit, and Indianapolis wants it in the future. News 8's Andrew Chernoff looks at the possibilities.
The NFL Draft has become much more than just a draft. It's now a massive event. An event that Indy could be a perfect host for one day.
When people think of Indy, they think of big events. And I think that reputation definitely goes out in front of us.
Indianapolis is no stranger to massive events. Indy 500s, Final Fours, the Super Bowl back in 2012. The NFL Draft would be a nice addition to the resume.
I think having the draft here would be tremendous. I think it's set up perfect downtown. But I keep asking a question about the Super Bowl, too.
The city has sent a letter of interest to the NFL in hopes of hosting a future draft. Now it awaits the go-ahead from the league in regards to submitting an official bid.
We've actually sent people to see past drafts to kind of get a sense of what it would take to really put a competitive bid together when our time is ready.
Looking at the calendar, 1 year in particular could be a perfect fit for the Circle City.
We're lucky to have Final Fours in 26 and 28 and 29, so we got to thread that needle and find the draft in there. So obviously 27 is a great year for that.
Those who know the city well feel Indy would crush it as usual if it ultimately was picked by the NFL to host a draft.
Hell yeah, they could host one. And these people here, Hoosier hospitality, no better place than right here.
No better place, indeed. Andrew Chernoff, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook.
Our live coverage from Kansas City begins tonight at 5 o'clock. Sports director Anthony Calhoun is making the trip to give you all access to the big event. AC will also lead a live NFL draft preview tomorrow on Wish TV. And we want to know who you think the Colts should pick with the number 4 pick tomorrow. We've got a poll on our website right now, wishtv.com. Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud leads the way with 30% this morning. Florida's Anthony Richardson is second with 28%. 23% say Kentucky's Will Levis. To share your vote, find the As Seen on Wish TV section of wishtv.com. Click on this story. Cast your vote. 2 business headlines. Consumer confidence worsened in April as Americans become more pessimistic about the job market. Consumer attitudes have held steady since the turbulence in the banking industry last month, but high inflation and economic uncertainty have continued to weigh on consumers. Consumer pessimism leads to a pullback in spending, which can be a self-fulfilling prophecy and slow down the economy. Meanwhile, a Stanford and MIT study finds that AI can boost worker productivity by 14%. It found AI support can be especially helpful to entry-level or early career workers, and that companies that don't incorporate it will be replaced by those that do. Following weeks of declines, U.S. mortgage rates climbed this week, according to Freddie Mac. The 30-year fixed mortgage rate averaged 6.39% for the week ending April 20th, up from 6.27% last week. Mortgage rates factor into home sales and the refinance market, and still high rates are impacting housing-related activity. GM and Hyundai are investing $8 billion in new U.S. battery plants. GM is partnering with Samsung on a $3 billion plant that's set to open in 2026 at a yet-to-be-disclosed location. Hyundai is opening a battery plant in Georgia. U.S. residents are spending more money to purchase legal cannabis than they are on chocolate, craft beer, and topical pain relief. A report from MJ Biz Daily showed Americans spent roughly $30 billion on legal marijuana in 2022, while only spending around $20 billion on chocolate. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.